to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the land where this conversation takes place. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Guillaume Zika began his career in some of France's most revered Michelin-starred kitchens, honing his craft in Paris and the south of France before moving on to Burleigh in New York and Hibiscus in London. Australia became the next chapter, first as head chef at the iconic Cottage Point Inn in the Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park on Sydney's northern edge, then as executive chef at Burleigh Pavilion, where he led a team of 60. Today, Guillaume is channeling his focus into Chef Notepad, the software he designed to streamline recipe communication, food costing, food waste and team management. A system built by a chef who understands exactly what kitchens need. Never one to shy away from a challenge, he's also set himself the ambitious personal goal of running 2,025 kilometres in 2025. I very happily sat down to chat with Guillaume on a rooftop in Prahran as the sun set over the city. Alors, bonjour Guillaume.
Bonjour.
We won't speak in French,
Okay.
But I just need to always try and get it in
Good.
there.
My English is actually better than my French.
Yeah, well, you've probably been overseas for a large part of your life, is it?
Yeah, almost maybe 16, 17 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's easy to forget, I think, if you're not using it. I try and always practice my French, but that's because I'm a French teacher.
Of course. No, I'm okay with talking to friends and family and things like that. But as soon as it gets complicated with words that I don't use every day, especially, kitchen language and things like that, or I get a bit lost.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, wow. That's interesting. Because you were born in Paris.
Yep.
From Paris. And just, I have heard from on other podcasts that your dad was a chef. So I may be interested to know what was food like in your household. You were just telling me your mum's Spanish. Was there some influences of that? What happened at home in the Zika household?
What happened at home? My mom was mostly cooking because my dad was a chef. So being a chef, and especially back in the day, he was working a lot. So he actually didn't spend a huge amount of time with my brother and I. But he was here for every family event and Christmas and birthdays and things like that. And this is how I actually really realized how good of a cook he was, because he was just cooking for the whole family and he was showing off his cooking and everyone was loving it. But otherwise, the day-to-day cooking was my mom doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not so much Spanish influence, because she's Spanish, but she arrived in France when she was 6, so she's pretty much French.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so your dad was the celebration cook. Do you have any food memories of the food that he made?
Yeah, I mean, there's one, I don't know, it's this one that I always had in my head is a duck à l'orange.
Oh.
So it's a duck, orange duck. And it was so tasty, and it's so special as well. I mean, you don't eat duck. A lot of people would think, in France we eat the foie gras and duck and all these things, every day at home. And I know we don't. It's still a bit of a celebration dish.
Yeah. So what do you think it was that made you want to become a chef? Was it because your dad was?
I think I was very very inspired by my dad, not from him especially being a chef, but by him being loved and cherished by people around him and family and friends and all that. But this is probably come from his personality. But for me, I was like, people love him because he's a chef, and I want to be, I want to cook for people, and I want to have that reaction from my friends and family and things like that as well, because it's rewarding to get cheered when you do something like this.
Yeah.
And I was not the best student either, so I didn't really want to know. I mean, how many kids know what they want to do those days, really? But I didn't really want to know. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was gonna grow up, and I got offered to be a chef from school.
Yeah.
So either being a chef or either doing other things that were not really inspiring.
Right.
So I was like, sure, I'll give it a go.
So that's interesting too, because I know that your first job was in a Michelin-starred restaurant, so I feel like you've kind of I'll give it a go, but then you go straight to fine dining, or a great restaurant. So what are the steps? Like, how do you get to start working your first job in that level of restaurant?
Well, you just especially when you've got no CVs, you just walk and knock to restaurant's door. And I wanted to be a chef, but I just didn't just want to be a chef. I wanted to be a really good chef.
Yeah.
And I want to make it a career out of it. So I started knocking at some good restaurants' door, and I got my first job when I was 16. I just being a stage, and doing some doing the dishes and doing some very basic cooking skills. That was a 1 Michelin-star restaurant in a suburb of Paris, not far from where I was living. And after that, I started the proper cookery school.
Right.
And from there, I was like, all right, you know what? I want to be working in a 3 Michelin-star restaurant, because this is the top of the top, and I want to learn from all those very talented chefs. So I started at that time. Now I had a very, very small CV, but also on my CV that was starting an apprenticeship, so that was good. So I went to knock at every Michelin-star restaurant in Paris to knock to their door and to see if they were looking for apprentices. That's how I started. And I didn't manage to get a job in a 3 Michelin-star, but I got in a 2, which was the Relais Louis XIII. Which was managed by a chef called Manuel Martinez. I don't know if he's probably still around. I was pretty old at the time already, but like a really, really, really good chef. He was a meilleur ouvrier de France, so like a MOF, with the French flag collar.
Yeah.
And was a pretty intense kitchen, very, very intense. But learn a lot of structure, a lot of good things. And I even talk about it now when I said, it was a small family-owned restaurant, and he was so tight with his money, with trying to save everywhere, that we were not throwing anything in a bin, any peels of carrots, onions, celery, everything we were putting on a bucket, and we were just using it for stocks or using it for other things. When we were going down, the cool room was downstairs. When we were going down the stairs, we were turning on the light. Going at the end of the stairs, turning off the light of the cool room. So it was that crazy.
Okay.
Going to Rungis, so the big French market, twice a week to again save, get better prices, and was pretty crazy.
That is a good start though, because it sets some really good standards, doesn't it, for what if that's what your baseline is, then that's right.
This is the whole point, I think, of working on those really high standard restaurants right on the beginning. It's like you don't know anything, so you learn straight away the good things, rather than not saying that restaurant that are not Michelin star you don't learn the right thing, but like you've got more chances to learn the right thing in a Michelin star restaurant than a brasserie or things like that.
So do you think it's harder to work your way up then if you don't start in a Michelin star restaurant? So if you did your apprenticeship in a brasserie, would it be more difficult to then get to that standard?
Do you mean the other way around?
Yeah, so if people didn't do what you did, but they wanted to work in a Michelin, but they couldn't get into one, and then they worked somewhere else, would it be harder for them to then
I think so. Yeah, because it all depends. Again, there's some really good bistro and brasserie where you learn very and they're also managed by ex-Michelin star chefs, and they're really doing the right thing. But if we talk about the basic brasserie, from a little corner in a normal suburb in Paris, they probably cut a lot of corners and they don't learn the right thing. And then when they're gonna try to get a job in a good restaurant, they're gonna struggle because they work over there, and also which is in any industry really. But also, if they manage to get the job, they're gonna, all right, can you make me a brunoise or do a chiffonade? And if they don't do it right, they're gonna be like, oh, listen, you can't cook. You know, so rather than you learning how to use your knife properly and learning how to clean, to use in a clean to work in a clean environment and learning is those little habits are very important for you base of cooking, I think.
So if you were learning to make a brunoise or whatever at cooking school, do you have to then relearn, or is it refined once you are in a Michelin-star restaurant?
This is interesting. I think it's the same actually in every restaurant. So you got your basis. Okay, brunoise is a brunoise. Okay, then you're gonna learn how to do cooking school, but you're gonna learn how to do it. Doesn't mean you're gonna do it correctly. To do it correctly and fast, it takes practice. But also you've got, brunoise is probably not the best example, but let's say I'll always take this example actually of turning an artichokes. So turning an artichoke is very complex. It's quite complex, and you probably, I don't remember, but you're probably learning at school. And some restaurants are doing it one way, some other restaurants are doing it a different way, and sometimes it doesn't matter if you come from a Michelin star. If you jump in another one, you're gonna have to do it a different way, even if the result kind of end up the same. I peeled a lot of artichokes in my life, and when I arrived at Burleigh in New York, which had they still have 3 Michelin star now, I had to peel artichokes, and I couldn't do it the way I learned, and I had to do it their way, even that the result was the same.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to learn the other way regardless. It's like making a chicken stock. Chicken stock is a very basic recipe and you learn it at school, but every restaurant's got a different way to make a chicken stock.
Yeah.
But then there's good way, there's also the bad way. There's, and the bad ways, that's what you learn in a small standard restaurant, and then there's the other ones.
Do you think every chef can be at that Michelin star level in terms of not as the head chef necessarily, but working in the kitchen, or is it not for everybody?
No, they can. It's about, to be honest, it's the same that every other restaurant. It's all about attitude. And if you're on a job in a Michelin star restaurant, you can walk in and get a job even with no experience. But if you got the right attitude, they're gonna put you into it and they're gonna like you. But if you got a wrong attitude, thinking that you know it all because you all your knowledge and everything, it's that you had before, at the right way, you're not gonna get accepted, and you're probably not gonna keep the job. But it's if you, and yeah, I mean it's the same in every industry. I think if you're willing to learn and to fold yourself to the culture of the business, it's good, yeah. But then what's harder is more like very often, I don't know anymore those days, but back in the day it was pretty not hard condition but long hours and a lot of pressure and things like that to work in a Michelin star restaurant, and the standard was really high, so it was pretty intense in the kitchen. It was a lot of fighting, like in, not fighting, physical fighting, but a lot of, how do you say?
Like backstabbing.
Tension.
Yeah. Oh, tension.
Tension in the kitchen within the chefs.
Oh, why is that? So, that's okay. Because you wanted to be ahead of the others. So
you want to be, exactly, yeah. You want to, there's a lot of, you had to protect yourself in the kitchen. You had to be a bad person.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is not for, this is some restaurant that I worked in. It's not for every restaurant, especially not those days. But
that's right. Well, and it's what I hear, that you hear all these stories of the brigade and the hard times and the shouty chefs, and I think certainly in Britain at certain stages that, that's been glorified. But I like to, I always like to feel like the food is coming from a place of goodness. So it's sad to know that other people are like being all tense and creating this food. But I do understand why, yeah. And just as a little side step, because, I like hearing you talk about artichokes, I feel like it's not something we really eat so much in Australia. So learning how to turn an artichoke would not probably be high on the list of chef skills here, do you think?
No, I don't think so.
And yet, that's what I love about France. I remember when I lived there, I used to always just have to sit back and wait and watch how people ate things, because invariably I would do it wrong. In spring when there's asparagus, we just probably use knives and forks. They would get their knife and put it under the plate and make a little vinaigrette in the little hollow, and then dip each spear in and eat it with their fingers. And I was like, okay. And with the artichoke as well, I just had never eaten an artichoke, and they did them in the pressure cooker and then had like the little vinaigrette and so on. You'd go around each leaf to get to the heart, which was the treasure. I was like, whoa.
I love just artichokes is one of the dish that artichoke dish is one of the dish that brings me so much memory. It's such a simple dish, and it is a pain in the ass to peel an artichokes, but you can just simply eat it whole like this, and and it's just incredible, putting the spoon under the plate just so the vinegar stays on the side and peeling every leaves. And
it's a real lesson in taking time, I think, that we might have lost.
Every time.
It's hilarious. So then you started in Paris, but then I loved to see you went down to the south of France. I like to believe that perhaps in a past life that I might be Provençal. I lived there for a year and I love it. So you were near, so that's closer to Nice or Cagnes-sur-Mer, the place. Is it Mougins?
Mougins, yeah. It's on top. It's inland of Cannes.
Yeah, so beautiful country around there.
Beautiful.
And the sun and the light down there is so stunning, isn't it? What made you decide to go there?
So my parents, when I was 18, moved in the south of France. From Paris. So and at that time I was not having the best time in the restaurant I used to work in.
Like it.
So I decided to move down there with them.
Beautiful.
And then I got my first real job over there, because in Paris I was an apprentice, and I got my first real job over there in a place called Le Moulin de Mougins. It was a 2 Michelin-starred at the time. I'm not sure how many they've got now. It was a very different experience. I learned a very different type of cooking, and the team we were just family.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. Still long hours though, I imagine.
Yeah, but it's not long hours if you don't think it's long hours.
Yeah.
Like it's very funny, and it's all perception. If you think it's normal to do 60, 70 hours, you just do it without complaining. But those days it's not normal to do that many hours, so you're like, it's just, you're out of your mind. And even those days, you look at the people in the kitchen, they're meant to work 38 hours, and as soon as they do 40, which is only an extra 2, and it's still very little compared to what we used to do, they're like, I had a big week this week, I did 42 hours. It's like, Jesus. But this is all in your mind. It's all, it's the same that the amount of money you get paid. If you're getting paid that amount a week, and you're cool with it until you know that the person next to you is getting paid more, and you're like, it's not fair, I'm not getting paid enough. And it's all,
Well, I mean, all those things came to a head here in recent years, and, fairness and all of those things. But I think if there's anything that you're learning, for example, me learning French, like, it takes hours to become really good at something. Hours and hours and years to become good at something. Or if you're an artist, or whatever it is that you're doing, I think it's difficult to master things in an 8-hour day. And I think, sadly, some things seem to have been pushed to the side because they just can't pay people you can't teach people butchery or proper fish work or all those things that perhaps you could do when you were learning, because there was time in the day to observe and maybe to teach as well. Are they teaching in the Michelin-star restaurants, or you just have to observe and learn?
Oh, you learn. You learn by doing it.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting what you're saying, and it's true. It's technically, you look at back in the day, we were working 80 hours a week, which is twice the amount of hours that we do today. Okay, so this is one thing. First, you learn twice more because you do in the same amount of time, because you spend more time doing it. But there's another thing, which is, I was talking to a friend of mine who's the chef at the Bentley the other day, and I was telling him that it's what's something that is actually a little bit more than this, is because the chef back in the day, or in the industry, when you do so much of one thing, that's all you do. So your mind is fully imprinted by it. So if you do, let's say, if you work 80 hours a week in a kitchen, automatically, if you like what you're doing, obviously, it become a passion. And all you do is think about it. You live it, you breathe it. And so you really embraced by it, and you this is your life. Being a chef is literally your life. Those days, working 38 hours in a Michelin-star, in a kitchen, is not anymore your life, because you got so much more time on the side of cooking, which can be, going to the gym, or it can be painting, or it can be going cycling, or it can be anything that is also part of your life. So when you clock off work, suddenly you got all the passions going on. You got time for a girlfriend. You got you travel and all those things, which back in the day you didn't have time to do all those things.
So it is healthier these days.
It's healthier, but what I mean is, like, you're not as passionate about cooking anymore. Yeah. Which means you don't learn as much. And it's quite interesting to see on this perspective.
There's also lots of distractions these days on places to learn cooking, because there's all these YouTubers and people on TikTok who have all these hacks and things. It must be a confusing world for young people trying to seek, if they want to better themselves as a chef, like, to know where to look. I mean, obviously it'd be great to look to the great chefs and learn from them, perhaps rather than TikTokers. Some TikTokers great, but
yeah. There's a lot of different sources of information, and there's a lot of wrong ones too. Internet is just pretty crazy. But in like, it's I think you also become a good cook by practicing, and the more you do it, and this is like everything, practicing your French, practicing a musical instrument, and the more you do it, the better you'll get it. And again, it's when you imprint by it, and you need to break down that many fish in a day, and you do it for 80 hours a week, or you do, it just become an automatic. It's just you just know it by heart. It's like singing a song for so many times, and you don't even think about it. You're singing, you know all the lyrics. But like, it's funny, but so at the Burleigh Pavilion where I used to work, we quite often, not quite often, but like sometimes we're like, the chef were catching me and is like, hey, we've got 2 fish, let's do a competition, who's filleting it the fastest, or chicken, who's breaking down the chicken the fastest. And I haven't broke down a fish or a chicken for so long, because after 7 years at a pavilion, I was not really cooking anymore. I was just managing 60 chefs, and I was not really doing all the day-to-day things. But those guys still were doing it every day. And even with me, with no training, because I've done it for so long, I was faster than them.
That's amazing. That's that muscle memory, isn't it?
It's crazy, and you just know it by heart.
Wow.
Because you've done it for so long. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but you also I don't know, it's such a very different environment today in the kitchen and 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago also, you had to be quick in the kitchen, and you were getting pushed hard by the person on top of you to go faster and faster and faster all the time. Today you can't push people anymore. No, I'm not physically pushed, but like
that's right.
It's really hard to tell them to go faster. And even if you tell them, they it's hard to make the whole team go faster. And instantly, even if one person go faster, it's like, oh, why would I go faster if no one else go faster? But maybe this was happening 20 years ago as well, and I didn't notice because I work in those high standard restaurants, and it's and so and today the rhythm in the kitchen, and I'm not saying in every kitchen, but people don't work really fast. They work pretty much for the clock, and they don't try to knock down a job as quickly as they can to go on the next one. They're not as productive as I think, or at least as the places I used to be.
There must be still top restaurants here where there are really passionate chefs who
I'm
still
pretty sure,
seek that. But yes, I understand what you mean, I think.
It's really hard to install that culture of working hard, even that like you're gonna work 40 hours, but you need to work, like you need to go faster, you need to it's very different.
So after the south of France, did you go back to Paris before you went to, was it New York first?
New York, yeah. So I went back to Paris for 3 years.
Yeah.
And I work in a place called Le Grand Véfour, and this is where this place was a 3 Michelin-star at the time, and I learned the 3 Michelin-star in Paris is very full on. This is what this is when I realized that there was no place for weak people in the kitchen.
Yeah, wow. I was going to say, like, you finally achieved your goal. Did you wake up every morning going, yes, I'm working in a 3 Michelin-star restaurant? Or were you like, okay, here's today we're going to do it?
It's
hard.
It was, but that makes you, it builds you strong and
3 years is a good stint, like, gave it a good go.
No,
and then you were ready to move on after that. Did you always think I need to go overseas to get that next challenge? Or?
Not especially. I think I just wanted to move, have a bit of sea change. I went to we were closed during summer. So most restaurants in Paris, at least the most of the high-end restaurant, they close in August because everyone leaves Paris in August. And so I had 4 weeks off, so I asked my boss to find me a stage in New York. So I went to Le Bernardin, which had 3 Michelin stars as well at the time, a fish restaurant, and I really enjoy New York.
Is it Eric
Ripper? Yeah.
He's vegetarian, is he, or is he vegan?
No, that's maybe, I don't know. But that's maybe Daniel Olm. Daniel Olm is
like I saw on Chef's Table when he was talking about the Korean nun or monk that makes all the food. I felt like Eric Ripper was a great advocate.
Maybe.
But it's a fish restaurant, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, you must have learnt a lot about fish then.
Yeah. But it's funny because I arrived in, so I had that mentality of that restaurant in Paris, which was pretty aggressive. Not aggressive towards people, but like really, if you want something, you just get it, and I really wanted to be, in the kitchen, and so I was really. Oh,
so you're back. So you're back into that, yeah.
Yes, no. So like when I was in New York and at Le Bernardin, I was really trying to push everyone to try to do more things, and I got in trouble. So I got in big trouble, pretty much I got kicked out of the kitchen. And they're like, "Well, you can." I said, "Can I go and do fish with the because they got one guy that does fish the whole day in there, and I was like, "Can I go to fish with him?" And I was like, "Sure, you can go there and you can spend time with him." So I cooked pretty much 2 or 3 weeks with him. Not cook, like just filleting fish the whole day. It was so fast. It's really impressive. really impressive. And but then when I finished there, when I went back to Paris, and then I was like, I think I want to go live there. So I applied to work at Percy, and very, very lucky I got a job.
And do you get to see, I mean, Thomas Keller, is he floating around? Like, do you get...
Yeah, he was there. Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
He's based in, at the time he was based in, at the French Laundry.
Yeah.
But he came maybe in the 6 months that I was there. He came a few times.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. He seemed nice in The Bear.
He's
TV
very,
show.
very calm. No, he's very calm. He's not.
Yeah.
He's very, very
Gave that.
self-control and. No, it's very like if like a few times if I was doing something wrong, it was just showing you nicely and it's like
Oh,
okay,
wow.
come, I'll show you.
Oh gosh, that kind of interaction. That's
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah. No, but yeah, very good.
Yeah, and then London.
And then I went to London and I worked with Claude Bossy at the time he had a restaurant called Hibiscus and we had 2 Michelin-starred. And I started as sous chef over there. And I stayed there for 4 years, and I ended up being the head chef, the chef de cuisine.
Wow.
And that was probably the hardest place I worked in. But I met some great people, but like was intense. Yeah, the amount of hours that I worked there was pretty crazy. London, it was just another level.
Because I feel like obviously when you're a sous chef you've got some responsibility, but that head chef is just that next level of not just thinking about the food that you're doing, but obviously overseeing a team. You've got to think about your leadership style, you've got to think about costs. How did you... Was that a natural progression for you, or did you really have to stop and think about what is my leadership style? How do I do the numbers?
Yeah, we were a small team. We were maybe 8, 10, 12 people maybe in the kitchen. But because I was there for so long, like naturally, when you're already sous chef, so you're already kind of leading people, but more in the pans and things. And so because I spent so much time cooking as well, I had a lot of respect from other people because they knew that I could cook. And then I became head chef. I don't know, I think it was easier to lead people. And I don't know, I never had I mean, I say this, but I never really had any problem leading people. So I had some bad interaction, as you go. Not everyone liked me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But most of the time they were respecting me, and we were working well as a team. Yeah. And then all the costing, you just learn how you go, learn how to use a spreadsheet, learn how to do all these things, and it's funny because it's so you never learn how to do those things until you get to that position. But you don't get that position. You don't become a head chef because you know about costing. You become a head chef because you can cook, and then you arrive at a position, and suddenly the financial aspect of the kitchen, which is the restaurants, is in your hand. It's not just about cooking anymore. It's also you need to make sure that kitchen is profitable.
That's right.
And it's a big responsibility, and you just need to learn as you go.
Yeah.
As you go. But I had Claude Bossy he had some structure in place, and we had spreadsheets and stuff, so we were doing things properly, I think.
That's what I find fascinating, is that many chefs will say to me, I wasn't very good at school, and so then I decided to become a chef. For me, those things don't go together, because I could not be a chef. Number one, I like cooking, but I could not cook at the level that obviously I could cook at the level that you cook, but, whatever. But number two, I can't do spreadsheets. And the amount of things that you have to think about as a chef, I think it's a redundant statement for people to say. It's just a different set of skills, and perhaps the school didn't fit you, because I think this idea, like as a chef, there is so much going on, and the cognitive load is huge.
But you learn it through through your school time in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Because when you start as a cook, you just you're a cook, and your job is very limited. But the way then when you go and you become a head chef, you went through in so many different situations. Dealing with pressure, dealing with rushes, dealing with problems that happen, if a machine breaks, or if something burns, or if an order doesn't come through, and you become a problem solver. So by the time you go through all that stage, then you become sous chef or head chef, and you're just a machine. And I strongly believe that someone that works, and this is not only in the kitchen, I think it's hospitality in general, because like restaurant manager or general manager are the same, they're just problem solver. But you just know so many answers of so many problems, and suddenly they're not problems anymore. For a lot of people, they're problems, but they're not problem for you anymore, because you got an answer.
Yes.
And you just become a different breed than a lot of people. And I always say that a chef or someone who works in hospitality can go work in any other industry, and he'll strive.
Yeah.
Because they put their heads in and they just go for it. And the problem solver, they don't get stopped by, little things. And it's pretty incredible. But yeah, you're right. When you're head chef, so much going on. So much going on, because you need to know how to cook. You need to know how to lead people. You need to know how to put a dish together.
Yeah.
And to communicate it to the team.
Absolutely.
You need to know how to talk to the suppliers, and to manage good prices as well, and to find new products. And you need to know your costings, the financial part of the business, which is pretty important when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because 60 to 70% of the revenue of a restaurant come from the kitchen, the food. And if you don't get it right, the restaurant is in trouble.
Absolutely. It's a lot of pressure. Well, it is mind-boggling. I think nowadays where the dining public might complain about the cost of things in restaurants on the menu, you only need to look at how much you spend when you go to the supermarket, and then consider what's being done to that in the restaurant, and plus the overheads and all that kind of thing. People need to be a lot kinder, I think.
It's very tricky.
Yeah, it is.
It's very tricky because you're right, cost of living is super expensive. But the problem we are at the moment is that for a restaurant to I'll say survive, I use the word survive. For a restaurant to survive, it needs to be super tight in especially two things that it can control, which is wages and the cost of goods. And it can be drinks or food. You need to be super tight, because food is expensive those days. Wages are expensive those days, and it's only so much you can charge for food.
Yeah,
it's only so much you can. Like, if you go to a restaurant and you can see you see a burger for $40, you never buy it. Like, what's in it? But a burger for $40 is pretty much what we should sell a burger for.
Well, it's like the whole conversation around banh mi. People think they're going to be some kind of cheap snack. It's just that it cannot be. There's so much in so much in a banh mi. But yes,
it's crazy, because it's not, and people don't say like these people that go to the restaurants, is that there's so much more cost involved than when you buy a sandwich. There's so much more cost involved than just the bread and what goes in the sandwich. There is packaging is expensive those days, super expensive. You got wages expensive. Everyone's rent went up. So the restaurants rent went up. Electricity same. You've got everything. The insurance goes expensive. Like, everything goes up.
Yeah.
And this, when you buy a sandwich, you also pay for the rent. You also pay for the electricity. You pay for the packaging. You pay for the wages. You pay, and you don't see all this. You're like, well, I can go to Woolies and make this sandwich for a quarter of the price. It was like, sure.
Off you go. Yeah. Please do.
No, but it's
I know,
tricky, because
right.
for the industry to be healthier, more sustainable, it's almost the only way is to charge more money. But if you charge more money as a restaurant, you're taking the risk to lose customers, because people won't be able to afford to have a $30 sandwich.
Yeah, no, that's right.
There's the margin in the restaurant industry are so small compared to the margin in the building industry or the clothing industry or things like that. It's incredible.
I want to come back to that, but before we do, because I know you're doing something that helps chefs with that, but before we talk about that, what brought you to Australia?
A girl.
Oh, that's so often the story. I love that. Lovely.
Yeah, so we met in London together, and then she's Australian, so we came together in Australia.
And
Yeah.
Sydney was your first.
Sydney was the first place I went to. Yeah,
And it sounds like you were in a really beautiful place. Was that the
Cottage Point Inn. Yeah,
And that's in a
Stunning
national park.
national
I
park,
feel like
yeah.
you're really coming from the other side of the world into full Australian
Oh yeah,
mode. Like there'd be snakes and
yeah, snakes,
Spiders
and seagulls, and
beautiful.
a lot of things happening in the water. It's like
Amazing.
It's pretty incredible.
And that was a head chef job.
Yep. Yeah. My first real head chef position. Well, I was head chef in London, but it was not my menu. It was Claude's menu.
Okay.
So this one was a real. Now you got to create a recipe on your own, and you're going to create yourself a style, and so it was really.
How do you go about that? Because you're in a new
very
country
stressful.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of learning, and a lot of learning because you're having a country where the seasons are different, the products are different, the fish looks completely different. The producers, you don't know any producers anymore. Like I come from London, where I knew everyone, and I arrive in a country that in the other side of the world when I don't know anyone. Didn't know any chefs, didn't know anyone. It was a very not stressful, challenging experience.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you need to build yourself a reputation and build yourself a style, and learning about, how you're gonna make a difference in the industry
Yeah. Wow.
with your cooking. And people had a lot of expectation for me, because I was obviously had such a big background, and so there was a lot of pressure. I remember when I just arrived in Australia, Scott Bowles, which is, I don't know if he's still writing for the Sydney Morning Herald, but he wrote an article about me, and he said, he called me the Michelin Man. And I was like, oh, what a pressure. Okay.
Yeah.
I better do well then.
Yeah. And how long were you there?
3 years.
Oh yeah, well,
I
obviously
think.
you did well. It's a good stint. and then Queensland from there.
And then I went to Bali.
Oh,
I went to
yes,
Bali
I
for
saw
6
that.
months.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, went to Bali for 6 months and opened something very different than I'd never done before. It was a beach club. But that was only a 6 months gig.
Yeah.
And then when I came back to Australia, I was like, I don't think I want to go back to a busy city after being in Bali. So I just wanted something a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Especially because I had a young family, and so I decided we decided to go in Burleigh Heads in Queensland. And my boss from Bali was opening the Burleigh Pavilion.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Right.
So,
Well, it's a big place, as you say, if you're overseeing 60 chefs. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big
that's-
place.
yeah.
This was probably one of the biggest challenges in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just saw on your Instagram that you have just recently finished there.
I did.
And everyone seemed sad in the photos. So I was going to ask you what you're doing now, and I know part of it, but I also wanted to ask you about running 2,025 kilometres. Is that what you're doing this year?
Yeah, listen. I love being challenged, and and if people don't challenge me, I challenge myself. So I follow this guy called Jesse something on Instagram, and he's a strong athlete, and he gave himself a challenge this year to run 2,025 miles.
Right.
Which is just over 3,000 kilometers, 3,200 or something.
Yeah.
And for the year. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. So
I don't know.
So,
who thinks that.
it's only an average of 9 kilometers a day.
Oh,
So it's not too bad thinking
sure.
about it. If you miss a day, you need to run 18.
Yeah.
If you miss 2 days, you need to run. It's like, it goes quick. It goes quick. But yeah, so yeah, that's one of the challenges. I'm actually a bit behind. I'm a bit behind,
Yeah.
but I'll catch up.
Yeah.
Up. You can catch up quite easily.
Yeah.
And I'm also training for a marathon on the Gold Coast in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do a really good time as well. So this one is another big challenge, because running a marathon, it's it's not. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's manageable.
Well, it's as much a mental challenge as
It's
it is
a big
a
mental
physical
challenge, but running it fast,
Oof.
it's different.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of mental strength and muscles and training, and it's not. Some trainings are not fun.
Wow. But are you now, in terms of culinary pursuits, are you now concentrating more on Chef Notepad? Is that
Correct,
the idea? Yeah.
Correct.
So is that an app or a program?
So it's a software. It's a software.
Yeah.
It's online. It's not an app, but it's very fun friendly. It's pretty much the same.
Yeah. And that's to help chefs out with those things we were talking about before, so costings and...
Correct, yeah. It's to help them, to help chefs and restaurants having a more sustainable kitchens in term of being sustainable financially, so profitable, but also sustainable to have a way to track actually all the wastage that you do, and to be able to what can you do with all this, because it brings awareness to what actually goes in the bin, and also being sustainable, being more efficient in communication with your chefs, and giving clean recipes.
So the recipes are all in there as well.
Yeah. So, but technically, what it is, it's a recipe book.
Yeah. Okay.
Online.
Oh yes.
That's it. You can share it as a link, and you can share it as you can print them, and it's very, very user friendly recipe book. And on the side, it calculates also your food cost of those recipes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So this is like a simple explanation.
Yeah. Well, everyone should want that, shouldn't they? Every chef, every restaurant. Should they not want that?
That's right. Every restaurant. But
it sounds like it's great, and it feels like it's bringing together all of your experience, like right from the start with the wastage and the
correct.
And the
Yeah.
Food costs and things. I love that.
Yeah. I always said that. The program started in a Michelin-starred in Paris, and here it is. But it's essentially, when you think about it, and so those days, a lot of restaurants are using spreadsheets if they're doing the food costs, they're using spreadsheets, and it's a very old school way to do it. A lot of restaurants are not doing it, and because what we talked about, they don't have the skills to do it. They never learn how to do it, and if no one's there to teach them, it's very hard to self-teach you. So when you become a head chef, you never had to deal with costing, you only had to deal with cooking. So what you do, you cook. And even when you apply for positions, quite often you're gonna get asked, can you lead a team, can you put a menu together, more so than can you make my business profitable, and what tool do you use for it. But when you look at, and everyone knows Deputy, which is a rostering platform, so it's a software that helps you rostering. So 10 or 15 years ago, everyone was doing roster on the spreadsheets, and it was very limited. It was just putting name in a box or putting time in a box, next to names, and Monday to Sunday. And then Deputy came up, and he made rostering. He brought rostering to a different level, because suddenly it brings clarity to how much you spend a day, how much this person costs you, how much this person costs you. You can put availability, you can put, so there's all those different this different perspective of dimension of a spreadsheet, suddenly that a spreadsheet will never be able to do, or you'll be able to do it, but it's going to be a pretty crazy spreadsheet, and Chef Notepad is pretty much the same. So he kind of does the same job than the spreadsheets, but it gives you a different dimension, because he really breaks down everything in it, and it makes you realize what's going on in your food cost and in your kitchen. And it's and I always say it's a tool that brings so much clarity in what's going on, that it actually makes you a better chef, because he makes you more calm and more understanding. When you're in control, you're just calm. But when you're not in control, that's when you get a bit stressed. And it literally does that. When you can communicate with your team properly, and you know that the food that you're serving, you're making money out of it. suddenly you're peaceful. You know that you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Cooking, it's easy. When you're a head chef, cooking, it's easy.
Yeah.
But that part is a little bit more complicated.
And what do you do to still feed the passion for cooking? Do you cook at home?
I cook at home, yeah. I mean, the more, the less I was cooking in a restaurant, and the more I started cooking at home.
Nice.
Yeah. And I love cooking out there. I love eating. I love eating, and restaurants are expensive.
Yeah.
So I cook a lot at home.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So I do a lot of. Yeah, I love cooking at home, and more I actually cook from recipe books, and I think just random recipe books. It doesn't have to be, not especially a famous chef or anything. It's just a good recipe book.
Nice.
Yeah.
And just my final question is usually this question. With all your experience in mind, what would your advice be to a young person starting out as a chef?
What would be my advice? I'll ask him the question, why does he want to be a chef? I think it's pretty important. And if you want to be a chef, you need to be passionate. And if you're not passionate about cooking and more so also the industry itself, you should probably pick another job, because it's a hard industry. And even if the hours are not long anymore, and even it's a pretty healthy environment to be in, you still work on weekends, you still work in, at night, early mornings, you're still standing the whole day, you're still dealing with cleaning the floor, cleaning dishes, cleaning pots, burning yourself, cutting yourself. It's a hard environment, and if you're not ready for this, because you're passionate about the industry, you probably shouldn't do it. And I'm not trying to discourage people, but it is easy to be like, oh, I want to become a chef when you're 20, and then you turn 30 and you want to build a family, and suddenly being a chef is not appropriate anymore.
Yeah.
And then what do? You start from scratch again, another industry. It's a hard one, and I'm saying this even that we need. I don't want to discourage anyone, because it's a beautiful industry, but and we need manpower those days, because there's more and more restaurant opening, and it's not gonna stop. But yeah, it's also important to have passionate staff in the kitchen, and there's not enough.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with the Chef with Guillaume Zika. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at chef_notepad, where Guillaume puts up some very entertaining videos. As for me, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef, and if you'd like to read other chats, you can check out the website www.conversationwithachef.com and become a subscriber. Of course, you can click follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so I know you're there. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about the chats, because that's still the best way to get the stories out there. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, and bon appétit.